What's going on, everyone? Gilman back with another video. We're going to do it on the wealth side of things again, and specifically on the Apple stock. You guys killed it with the support on that one, so thought I'd provide an update based on the market end. So today's Monday, September 14th. In the last video, I sort of talked about what I was looking at in the catalyst coming up in the Apple event, and so I thought I'd provide an update with a day of trading after that previous video. So, moving straight into it, what we see is it was an overall good day for the markets, right? So, we take a look at the Dow here. It was up 344 points. S&P was up, and then the last thing, NASDAQ, which is the tech stocks. So Apple has weight in there. Apple also has weight in the Dow. All three of those sort of an alliance is good because what we saw sometime last week is NASDAQ was sort of trailing the Dow, right? So the Dow was not doing as badly as the NASDAQ, which is expected because previously the NASDAQ was doing crazy well and then the overall Dow wasn't. So that's a good thing, a generally good day for the market. And if we look at the chart here, an overall good day for Apple. So taking a look at the 1 day, 1 minute chart, we see a general good day for Apple here. It closed up 3%. After hours right now it's 4:30 Central, and it's up a little bit more, but that kind of varies. It can go up, it can go down, no guarantees on that. But so at the open, jumped up to 115 and then came right back down and then went right back up. And this is a key point to note because this is something that's been happening in the past. If you look at the last 3 days, for example, let me open the 5-day chart real quick. So here we saw from the 9th to the 10th, we saw a gap up. It went a little bit down, a little bit back up, similar to what we just saw, but then it went down, right? It faded into the day. And then when we went from the 10th to the 11th, we saw the same thing happen. So just a little bit of a gap up. And then it continued selling out throughout the day with a little bit, you see this 110 that was hit midway through the day, and then it kind of rallied into the end. Today we saw this gap up, and then it kind of came down for a sec, and then it went up again. And I thought, at that time, we could potentially see a sell-off, which we did for a little bit, right? So it went from a high of 115 down to 114, tried to rally back up a little bit, but then dove back down. If we take a look at the 1-day chart, the low of 112 was hit, and then it continued rallying from that point on, which is great for Apple. So taking a look at the VWAP line, what we see here is there are several times throughout the course of today that Apple tried to break through the VWAP but got rejected. But then at the end, the last about 30 minutes or so of the market, it was able to rally into the close, which is definitely a good sign. The other thing that I want to mention is I did talk about this yesterday about the Time Flies event coming up tomorrow. Now, it's not your typical September iPhone event, but they are expected to launch some things such as the Apple Watch update, the iPad update, and all that stuff. So there could be potential excitement, leading into tomorrow. Now, I do want to share with you guys a trade that I made. So I bought some Apple calls this past Friday. I bought them at $2.95 and $3.05. So that means $305 and $295. So I had about $600 worth of calls, and those calls were expiring this Friday. There were 918 calls, $112.50. And as we see here, Apple rallied up to 115 today. So right at the open, so my total cost was 600, so average cost was 300. So I sold one of them right at the open for 370, as you see here, making a 20-ish% gain on that, because as I said, the 5-day chart, we always saw that gap up and then a fade throughout the day, so I wanted to kind of avoid that. So yeah, just to overall avoid that fade, I sold that first one at 370, and then when it dropped but then went back up again just a little bit later, I sold the other one. That one I sold for almost a 50% gain. Now, 20 and 50% gains are not what I expect to see every day. I just happen to be right. And so One thing that I will tell you is, you know, for example here, what you see is I had two separate transactions when I bought the calls, right? I bought the first one at $2.95 limit order. Always make sure to do a limit order. Do not chase by putting in a market order and getting and taking it for the asking price, right? Wait for it to come to your price. Now, I bought it at $2.95 because at that point I wanted to see if, you know, Apple was going to trend in the right direction. I got one at $2.95. Once I saw that Apple was trending in the right direction, I picked another one up just a minute later, 2 minutes later, I think it was, at $3.05, which is totally fine to do. If I had been wrong and Apple started tanking, I only had one position open, right? Or one contract open instead of two contracts. Similarly, like if you are wanting to sell, but you think that it could potentially rally, I sold one here at $3.70. I could have sold both at $3.70 and then missed out on this gain. Or I could have sold none at $3.70, right? Instead of locking in that $70 profit, I could have risked it for more because I think it's going to go up. What that does is it, you know, further exposes you to whatever the market is going to do, which nowadays with all the volatility going on, would highly not recommend. Make sure to lock in your profits. And then I let the other one go for a little bit at $4.65. And when I sold it, it seemed like a great decision because, you know, as you see here in the 1 day chart, right? So this is where I sold, or somewhere in this first rally is where I sold my first one, and then the second, like, kind of high point here is where I was able to get out the second one. So, I mean, throughout the course of the day, that seemed like a really, really good deal because then Apple fell to like below 113. It did rally back up. So now, you know, looking back, maybe I could have made more, but that's besides the point. Always make sure to lock in your profits and then let the other one ride if you have multiple ones. So scaling into it and going out. I did have another open position. I do think that tomorrow being Apple's Time Flies event, there is going to be somewhat excitement. I think it's at like 1 p.m. tomorrow, maybe 2 p.m. Not sure. Sometime during the day tomorrow, I picked up another Apple call because I'm expecting the stock to go up, whether that's a gap up or whether that is a you know, normal start to the day and then it rallies up into the event. I was able to get that one for $3.82, and as of the close, Apple continued to rally, so that one's worth about $4.15. So you know, not a huge jump, but you know, regardless, it's something, right? So one thing I'll say is make sure to never, you know, put all your eggs in one basket, because especially nowadays, right, all it takes is one bad news for everything to go down. Or you know, maybe if you're betting against something, if the vaccine news comes out, then you know, everything could spike and you could be losing a big chunk of your account. So always make sure to manage your risk. Hopefully you found this video to be helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe. I'll try to continue to do this to provide updates. If there's any other stock you want me to try, feel free to drop a comment down below, but please do subscribe, show some love down below. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.